Hello and welcome to another World Trigger video in which I will be explaining black triggers to you gorgeous and lovely people. I'll be explaining how they are made and how they affect the universe of World Trigger. However, before I get into that, make sure to like and subscribe for more intense Batman and Superman content. Wait a minute, that's wrong. No, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment for more World Trigger content. Yes, that's right, and when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I will make sure to do a World Trigger character tier list or a squad tier list in the future, and as quickly as possible after I've hit 1,000 subscribers. Now back to black triggers. Black triggers are triggers that rather differ from the norm. As with normal triggers, you've got your technology and science. However, with black triggers, they don't particularly abide by these rules. So when talking about black triggers, we, the viewers, have quite a hard time really understanding how it works. But from where we are in the story, black triggers are typically weapons of rather immense and large power that can influence the tide of a battle and wars and even flip them on their heads like a nice flat pancake. So the real question is, where do these immense triggers come from? And why are there so little of them around? Well, to answer that, I've got to explain the creation of these triggers. And to be honest, it's not the most pleasant thing out there. A black trigger is a very special trigger in the fact that its creation involves a high-level Treon user that has a very large amount of Treon available to him. Now, this Treon user pours all of their Treon into a certain object or trigger. I'm not quite sure what they have to pour it into. However, once they pour it all into this object, they create a black trigger, or as some people call it, a personality trigger. Now, you might think that's all nice. However, there is a large price to pay for such a powerful weapon to be created. And the fact is, when the person creating this black trigger pours all of their Treon out of them into this trigger, they're actually sacrificing themselves, and in turn their body and flesh turn into dust, as you can see from what happens to Yuma's father when he sacrifices himself to save his son. But apparently this sacrifice actually heavily influences the black trigger. One, because its abilities stem from the situation the creator made it for, such as with Yuma and saving him, creating that Treon body, Jin's master and creating a weapon of combat, which I'm assuming was during a time of warfare and extreme combat that was created. However, when looking at black triggers, there is another reason why you could say it's infected with the personality of the person that made it, and that's because not everyone is compatible with these triggers. They're quite picky with who they let use them. So you've got to really think of the personality of the user and the personality of the person that will be using the black trigger. So let's say the black trigger was created by someone that's more like a monk, more of a pacifist like person, and then you've got someone like Kaguera and people that really love the thrill of the fight. They hunt it out, they want to fight. Then, to be honest, they might not be compatible because their personalities do not match in the slightest. That's why there's probably the perception of the personality triggers in there. But in Border, there aren't particularly many black triggers available, and they've got their own certain rules to how they handle black triggers. Firstly, they instantly upgrade the person that is using the black trigger to an S-rank agent, and these S-rank agents cannot participate in rank wars and away missions. This is for multiple reasons, but still no D rank. It's ridiculous. You need to respect the D rank. For side effects, for triggers, for agents, there's no D rank. There's all S rank, A rank, B rank, C rank, and then they just stop. What if you're a really, really, really bad agent? Get the D rank there. Come on, guys. But back to the reasons as to why they don't go on away missions. Firstly, it's because you don't want to take your black trigger to a neighbor world and then lose it to that country, because you're basically allowing them to increase their military force. But another reason is because they want to protect Border, protect Earth from the neighbors. They also want to protect Border and all the secrets they hold that they wouldn't want any other country to get. Probably such secrets that not even the audience knows, like who the hell Ammo is and what his black trigger can do, or what's happened with Yotaro and Old Border. There's so much we don't know, and there's so much I hope to find out. But black triggers hold very large importance not only in Border, but in all countries in the neighborhood. As the thing is, military strength as we know it in the neighborhood is first gauged by how many black triggers a country actually holds. This is why Afro Crater, who has 13 black triggers, is an actual superpower in the neighborhood. And even compared to Cheon, who is another superpower nation, that's a large amount of black triggers. Now, in the neighborhood, black triggers are cool. They're used for combat, and they're very nice to observe and see what they can do because they have very unique skills. However, they also affect politics within Border, the neighborhood as well. In Border, the politics is affected because you've got your different branches of beliefs in how Border should be ran, and they're all fighting for black triggers to have substantial power within the politics within Border, as you see in the Black Trigger capture arc. It also affects the politics between nations and the acts of warfare between nations, because as Replica has stated before, once a country is being pinned down in war, once they're extremely cornered, then you're going to have people in that country that are martyrs and are willing to die for their country, for their families, and willing to sacrifice themselves to become black triggers. So a main aspect is that you don't want to overpower another nation that badly, in a sense, or you want to get it done very quickly and wipe out all their potential black trigger options. However, there is something about black triggers that is known as that it is very heavily down to luck whether a black trigger is successful or not, because when you look at black triggers, you'd think, oh, just find people with large amounts of Treon and then just mass produce it, which could be a future possible ethical issue in the away mission. However, in Border, you can't really risk that kind of things, especially in the politics of today and the world of today. In World Trigger, you can't mass produce black triggers, but the ethical reason isn't the only reason. Another reason is because it's all down to luck whether it succeeds, and the thing is, you'd rather have your high Treon ability users fight for you, because if it doesn't succeed, then you've lost a very powerful soldier for nothing. So when creating black triggers, you have to really do it in a state of emergency. And as well as that, what we've heard about from Border briefing files and such is that when you have a side effect, that actually increases the chance of creating a black trigger. However, we haven't seen any proof of this or anything, so I'm just going to leave that on the back burner for now. But altogether, black triggers are powerful weapons. They're kind of like nuclear bombs in today's world. They affect the power of your country, they affect how people view your country, and they affect the politics a lot. But they've also got very cool combat abilities, which I prefer compared to the bombs. And sadly, that's all we particularly know about black triggers and how they're made so far. But if you did like this video, please like and subscribe and help get to that glorious 1,000 subscribers. And I do thank you for watching, and goodbye, and see you next time.